hearing versus listening, right, is that hearing is done passively. So it takes no effort to hear. You know what I mean? You can just hear the background noise, right? It's a more passive state, while listening is done intentionally. So part of listening is comprehension. So now we want a step further. It's not just hearing. When you listen to a person, you're actually comprehending what they are saying to you, right? So however, the engagement of the deaf, which is what we're discussing, is done in a more passive way. So it is a passive listening that we are discussing tonight. That's the problem, right? This is characterized as a disconnect. So when we're communicating, this is when we're in a state, okay? It's a state of being unreceptive due to us not actively listening to one another or engaging to better understand what's being said to us, all right? So we can't use this form of listening if we are striving to form good relationships or to build true bonds with other people in our lives, right? We can't use this passive form of listening. It doesn't work in building a relationship, all right? So, good forms of listening, showing one another they matter, forming alliances, strengthening relationships, bonds, asking questions. It shows that you are engaged. It shows curiosity, that you're interested in what I'm saying to you, right? Next, wait your turn to speak. Learning to not interrupt individuals is very important, and it allows others to express their thoughts and not just yourself. So it's not just about you in communication, right? Lastly, staying focused on what's being said. Do you follow me? All right, pay attention to what is being said to you in this conversation. So let's get on into it. Humans' existence would absolutely be nothing great at all without our ability to effectively communicate and enter into meaningful conversations with other people. We can't grow without that, all right? Communication is our way to connect with one another, and it is also a time to resolve our conflicts. We can't resolve our conflicts if we don't communicate effectively with one another. It's a very important skill to learn. And when we're always talking over the other individual, the danger is that we stop listening to one another. So if you're talking over me and I'm talking over you, it's a dangerous situation because we've stopped listening to one another. So when we get to this place of conflict, we don't understand why we're there. We don't understand why we've arrived to this place of conflict. And the reason is because we lack the ability, not the ability, but we did not listen to one another and effectively communicate. All right? So an important skill. The danger is we stop listening to one another. We should never be just listening in order to just give our response next. Sometimes people listening because they can't wait to say what they got to say next. And that is not effective communication. All right, so we listen for an understanding the same way that we read for an understanding. All right, it also shows respect, and what is being said is important to you, right? So even in our conversations with God, let's get to the biggest point of the night. Even in our conversations with God, we should be slow to speak and quick to hear what God is saying to us. See, it's very dangerous to overtalk God, and I'm going to tell you why. Because he has all the answers that we need for all the questions that we have about ourselves as well as this life that we partake in. So the scripture tells us that if man or woman does not control their tongue, then their worship is pointless. That's the scripture. I didn't make it up.